And however your fear manifests, whether it's that you're not good enough, you're not talented enough, people don't like you, when you feel confident enough in yourself to represent your self-love to other people, you're going to build that part of your brain that can easily send energy there. You will still be tempted with anxiety, with doubt, with fear. You shouldn't think that it's true just because you feel that way. And you shouldn't think that it's all you're ever going to feel. It really doesn't have to be.
We've only just begun.
I know a lot of really amazing, wonderful, intelligent people who feel completely worthless. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or make myself sound special, but I'm one of them. It's very normal when you are a creative individual to be overwhelmed with negativity. Why is that? I don't know. You know, there's a lot of correlation between neurodivergence and creativity. So it could be if you're one of these creative individuals and you feel insecurity, despair, cataclysmic fear and anxiety, it could be a product of childhood trauma. I have ADHD, and I know that people with ADHD tend to suffer from complex PTSD, and that can be overly strict parenting or authoritarian upbringing. That can be isolation, social isolation, or parents who withhold love. It could be abuse, whether physical or sexual or verbal or psychological. And if you are creative, there's a chance that maybe you have some of these things in your background. Not everybody. But there's also the possibility that for the few who don't have any of those things, who are creative, I think there's also a huge overlap between being creative and being an emotionally responsive person, sympathetic, empathetic. Actually, you're empathetic. And that can make you more emotionally reactive. I mention this because misery is so commonly the bane of people like us. I spent 15 years writing for marketing. In the era of the AI advance, my job went away, and I have been unemployed for about a year now. And that's really invalidating. I've tried really, really hard to get jobs that I'm qualified for, underqualified for, overqualified for, jobs that pay more than what I want, less than what I want, exactly what I want, and nothing. And it's really easy to say, oh my God, I can't take care of my family, I'm worthless. Oh my God, I can't take care of my family, the world's gonna end. It's easy and it feels real, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that that is in your mind. That's something that I feel too. That's something that I struggle with a great deal. But the truth is, how we feel is sort of a product of how we manifest energy in our surroundings. And I know that sounds kind of new agey or hipster or whatever, but it's the truth. Our surroundings have as much good as bad. And that's not because the world inherently has a balance to it. That's because we as individuals have the same capacity to interpret what's happening as good or bad. And a lot of times, if you are like me and you deal with this imposter syndrome, fear, it could be that your narratives are themselves negative. And I know that that's true of me. So one of the things that you want to do if you struggle with this, like I do, is focus on reframing your emotions. I like to tell people that if you jaywalk enough, you're going to get hit by a car. I like to tell people that because pretty much people agree with that. And when I look at a scenario like trying to spend a year trying to find a job, it feels like I'll never get one. Now, that's negative framing. Maybe it's based on data, a year's worth of data. But the second you start using absolutes like never or always, it's a sign that maybe your narratives are coming into play, because very few things are never and always in life. And what you want to remind yourself is that putting yourself out there for good things makes you just as likely to succeed as if you jaywalked until you were eventually hit by a car. That's the beginning, right? That's the framing, reframing, and realizing that you're manifesting your reality in the specific way that you are. That doesn't change anything, right? It might change how you feel about it, but that's actually a really big deal. How you feel about something influences your ability to emotionally respond to them and to logically respond to them and to adapt to those situations. It is very normal for me to think that the world is going to end, literally and figuratively. And I have to remind myself that even though right now in my brain there's like this alarm bell that's ringing, that is in my brain, that it is not this hard and fast experience that other people are having around me, but rather it's something that I am bringing to the table. Now, what's the solution? The solution is you kind of have to focus more on the good things about yourself. Because the truth is, it is our ability to look at a situation and cast certain attributes of ourselves onto why that situation happened that inform how we feel about ourselves. Not getting a job for a year. I know that AI is eating up the current marketplace. I know that I have a very diverse background and that a lot of people are looking for specialists who have only ever done one thing. And that is an example, I would say, of a balanced, moderated narrative explanation for why I have struggled to find work for the last year. I worry about my ability to have this wonderful home, to keep a roof over my family's heads, and to care for our 3 wonderful cats. I worry about that. But that doesn't mean that I am immediately in danger, and it doesn't mean that even though that's where my mind is focused, that is exactly what is about to happen. It feels that way because I think about it a lot. The same is true for you in however your fear manifests, whether it's that you're not good enough, you're not talented enough, people don't like you, or that maybe simply the universe is never going to work out in your favor. You need to stop and catch yourself in those moments. I can't tell you that you can magically make the world a better place. I can't tell you that you're going to convince yourself that you are Superman or the most successful person in the world and then have it come true. But I will tell you that you can insulate your thoughts enough so that maybe you feel that way. And again, feeling is important. What we feel isn't necessarily reality, but it is what we believe reality to be. So if you can focus on the little things like, that you have inherent value, which maybe you don't believe. It's very typical for people not believe that. You do. I can't sit here and tell you in this impersonal setting what your specific value is, but you have it. You have it the same way that you have an ability to look at yourself and say, I have this flaw. And the difference is how much time do we put into each, right? How much time do we put into looking at our flaws versus looking at our strengths? And the truth about our society is we shame people who feel good about themselves. We shame people who are confident. That is not to say our society is without narcissistic people, arrogant people who are full of themselves. But that doesn't mean that simply because you believe in yourself that you're one of those people. And so you have to allow yourself to be willing to feel good. You have to allow yourself to be willing to say good things about yourself to other people. And know that if they accuse you of being one of those narcissists or arrogant or full of yourself, that you're going to let that roll off your shoulders, because you know what? Someone's got to love you, right? And it has to start with you. That's our responsibility to ourselves. It's our responsibility to love ourselves in such a way that we can be honest about what we like about ourselves, about the things we think we do well, about the things that we are proud of. And when you can't do that, it is so easy to fall victim to imposter syndrome. It is so easy to feel like a fraud. It is so easy to feel worthless and unseen. But again, it's because that's where we're pointing our energy. Maybe you have abusive people in your life. Maybe you work at a job that doesn't appreciate you. Those are issues localized to those places and people. You cannot let what they say to you override what you believe about yourself, right? When you get to a point where you can say, I love myself, and I do love myself. There was a very long time when I didn't even know what it meant to love myself. People say, do you love yourself? I think that's like a mirror trying to look at itself, right? I mean, where is the love starting from? Where is it ending? Where is it headed? I don't get it. But I do love myself. And even when I was desperately depressed, suicidally depressed, I didn't want to change who I was. I didn't want to change places with anybody. And you have to get there. So start by making a list for yourself about the 5 things that you love about yourself. And then do it again tomorrow. And then the next day. Because this list can change. You might love a lot more things about yourself than 5. But if you're struggling, let's start by getting to 5, right? Let's start by getting to 5 things. And this is why you're doing it every day. Because you need to start building those neuronal clusters in your brain that send energy through those thoughts about what your strengths are. Because the more you do that, the easier it will be for those thoughts to go through those neuronal clusters that focus on your strengths, right? It's the same thing that's happening now. We doom and gloom so much that those areas of our brain are overdeveloped, and it's really easy for energy to pass through it. But if we resist it over time, those areas will atrophy. I'm 42 years old. I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 10. I've been diagnosed multiple times since then. I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, anxiety disorder, all these other things. You can go your whole life believing and thinking the wrong thing. But if you start by writing 5 things that you love about yourself every day, if you read them aloud every day, it's that much easier to focus on them. And then here's the thing that you really need to do after you make the habit of writing those 5 things each day. Say them aloud and tell them to other people. Thank you so much for watching that video. It's my goal to try to help creatives like you and me to live better, happier lives. If you would like to support me in any way, please go over to my Patreon and see if there's a pledge level that you feel comfortable engaging with. Engaging with my Patreon not only helps me to pay the bills, it helps me to promote my books, and it helps keep me doing videos like this one and helping other people like us to have a better day. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope to see you soon.